the link in the comments in the community. Okay, welcome. Welcome to Stall Talk. This is episode 13. Wow, 13 episodes. This has been so much fun. I'm Kendra Dixon. I have a really awesome lineup today. So I'm so excited that you're joining us, whether you're watching us live from YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, the Stall High app, or you actually got to be part of the Zoom. I just want to welcome you to today's Stall Talk. What is Stall Talk? Well, it's a weekly show every Tuesday at noon where we're going to dive a little deeper into why horses aren't responding to us. When a horse is physically healthy, they vet clean. Your vet says your horse has a clean bill of health, but they're not responding to you and they're not working up to your expectations. There's always a mental block to blame. And at Stall High, we're on a mission. We're a community of horse owners that are taking responsibility to educate ourselves on a daily basis to find out how to remove the mental block so that we can really help each horse get to their highest potential and reach their fullest potential, as well as ourselves as riders. Today, we're going to kind of circle back on a conversation that started a few weeks ago that really fascinates me. I know we're just beginning to scratch the surface, so it's probably a conversation we're going to continue to have throughout 2023. So I'm very excited to be wrapping up 22 and looking ahead. And we all know, at least you should know, okay, if you've been in the horse community for, more than a week, you should know by now that what you feed your horse has a direct impact on its performance and its behavior. I have said this for years. I have witnessed it myself. I've personally experienced how a performance type feed can drastically alter your horse's behavior. They act different. It seems to change their personality. Yes, they may have a lot more oomph and a lot more gas in the tank. That's not always a good thing, especially not if you're expecting calm concentration. And if you're wanting precision in your turns or timing, whether you're roping or chasing cattle, in a cutting event or reining. Western sports are about precision as much as they are about speed as well. So I think it's a very big challenge to educate ourselves and really monitor a horse. The most valuable asset to any feed program are your two eyes. So to be able to monitor a horse's behavior, and today we're going to talk about how what we put into our body, our food choices can have a direct impact on our horse's behavior. We learned that a few weeks ago, we talked about how a simple thing like adding greens to our diet, eating a salad, drinking greens, there are products available at lifeenthusiast.com that can help you calm down before you make a run. Well, that's easy. How many of us have struggled? I struggled for years. Maybe you're still struggling with getting nervous before you compete. Well, eat or drink something green right before you go. We're going to talk more about that today. Today's Stall Talk, episode 13, is brought to you by lifeenthusiast.com. You see the lovely Miss Lori Roth as our moderator today. She's in Nacogdoches, Texas. She is my right-hand woman at Stall High. And we've got Martin Pytela. He is actually founder of Life Enthusiast. Hey, Martin.
Hello. You hear me?
Yes, I hear you really well. And we've got Theresa Reeder. So Theresa Reeder owns Wild Pony Trading Company, and we met Theresa while we were at the NFR in Las Vegas, and you had your booth set up at Downtown Christmas Expo at the Plaza. And so it was awesome because we stayed at the Plaza. I felt an immediate connection to you and Bo, and so it was really fun to just zip by your booth every day, and you adorned me in all of this amazing jewelry, which made me feel super special and upgraded my wardrobe. But you actually got to listen to Martin on the week that I wasn't here, and Shelly was our host. So what impact did that have on you? Can you kind of give us a recap of what he said that caught your attention?
It was absolutely amazing. And thank you very much for having me on here today. I appreciate this. My entire life, I have struggled, even from a child. And I swear, Kendra's going to laugh at this. I'm not going to cry. I'm not crying. I've struggled with this because I am 5'10", and I have always said I'm built like a linebacker, like kind of as a joke, like when you make fun of yourself before anybody else can make fun of you. I've always joked about that. And I'm not even going to say some of the stuff that I heard growing up, because I wasn't that 5'2", blonde hair, blue eyed, little tiny, petite kid. I powerlifted with the football players in high school, and I could out bench press a few of them. I knocked the football coach out of his chair one time because he threw a medicine ball at me and said, "You can lift the weights with my boys if you can catch this." Well, I caught it and threw it back at him and knocked him out of his chair. So for the first time in my life, I heard a professional say, if you are built this way, or if you crave this kind of food, or what have you, it's not that you're, wrong or built wrong, or there's something wrong with you. This is just the way you are, and, adjust to that. And I literally was sitting in a restaurant having breakfast before we went to the hotel to go set up. And I believe, Martin, that you had said, you used the reference built like a linebacker, and my jaw dropped. And my husband looked at me like I had lost my head. He was like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "Did you hear him? Did you hear him? Oh my gosh, he's describing me." So it for the first time in my life made sense. And I didn't have a doctor just telling me, stop going through the fast food, stop eating every 10 minutes, stop. Which I always look at him like, that's not what I do. So it allowed me to, and I'm sorry, we're driving, so I'm like looking out. I'm not driving, my husband's driving. But for the first time, it just kind of clicked and fell into place and made sense. And I started, all of these things started lining up, and I started thinking back, okay, when I do eat like my vegetables and my lean proteins, I do feel better. When I'm putting in junk food, or I'm fueling my body with stuff that my body doesn't need, and it may be something that other people's bodies do need, but it's not from my body. I don't feel as good as the days that I eat like my chicken and a salad and some, berries or something like that. And I think it just took hearing it from somebody else for me to go, I did know all along, but I wasn't listening to my body. So thank you so much for that. It changed my outlook and everything dramatically. And kind of for the first time in a long time, I have some hope that I'm not built wrong or stuck like this for the rest of my life, if that makes sense.
Yes. And that beautiful new saddle that you're using for decoration in your booth is about to be on a horse, because I'm calling you out. So she meets me and she's like, have a saddle. There it is in all its glory. And she's using it as a prop in her booth. She's not riding in it. Yeah, but we're going to change that. I'm so excited about this journey. So Martin, what does this bring up for you today? I wanted you to be able to meet Theresa, face to face virtually. So
well, I'm happy. Yeah, I'm so happy for her to feel validated finally, because as she said, it's not a secret to her. She's lived it, but she didn't have the society and knowledge to support her in knowing that, like with horses, we understand, okay, there's the Percheron, and you're not going to use it as a racehorse. You're going to put it in something that's going to call for his talent. Mm-hmm. Likewise, that medicine ball thrown at the coach, that's your talent. Everybody that wrongs you, just hit them good.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Anyway, so the point, right? The point is that, yes, we are not identical. We all are bred in a specific way, and we have to express our talents where we have them. Mm-hmm. And we celebrate, as Theresa said, finally find your way to celebrate the way you are, knowing that is actually your advantage.
Yes. Knowing that that's your advantage. So I was even listening to something this morning about ADHD, right? I didn't know I had that growing up as a kid. I just knew that I struggled a lot. And now that I'm learning more about it, it makes a lot of sense. And it helps me, I guess, approach my day differently. And I'm more successful just because I know more. I know more about my behaviors and why. I think when we struggle with the why, that's worse than actually having the the issue that we're dealing with sometimes.
Yeah, not understanding what's happening and why is it happening. Yep. Yep.
So I am fascinated by the fact that food can change our behavior. You said something about cells holding on to having a memory, and that I missed something. Shelley was reminding me about some foods that we eat make us angry. If that is the case, and we go saddle a horse and take that anger to the barn, or we take that anger to that relationship unknowingly, it's not our horse's fault if they're not responding properly, because we've made the wrong choice of what we put in our body, what we eat before we go ride. So can you tell us a little more about that, please?
Oh, okay. So in the metabolic typing that I'm trained in and I practice, there are two main tools, two main paddles. One is called the endocrine dominance, which deals with the body type that you are and how you're going to gain weight or lose weight, or what your strengths are going to be and how you're going to be needing to eat. Like some of us need to have 3 equal size meals with protein every day. That's the thyroid types. Some people do great on 0 breakfast, light lunch, heavy dinner. That's the adrenal types. Hi, Theresa. And others are the other way, where they are, it's called the pituitary, and they need to have a large breakfast, medium lunch, 0 dinner. And the pituitary, they're usually built as Cabbage Patch dolls. You don't see many of them, but they have larger head, and they usually have knock knees, and they're the classic nerd type is that. So they're less easy to find. They're there. So anyway, that's the endocrine dominance. And then there is the metabolic dominance, which dictates how the pH of the terrain in the body will be regulating. Okay. And we have 2 sides to the autonomic nervous system. One's called fight or flight, the other one rest and repair and digest. And the medical term is sympathetic and parasympathetic. And when you're in the sympathetic, you're acidic, and mentally you're quick, but you're acidic as in bitchy and short-tempered and lack of social graces, and just go, I'm going to power through it, and then damn with the torpedoes and that sort of thing.
We see that. I see that at every race I go to. There's always more than a handful of riders that you can definitely put in that category just by glance. You can recognize them. And I've been that. I'm guilty. I've done that so many times, but not understood why. And until you take a step back from what you're doing, guys, if you're really brave enough to look in the mirror and look for the answers as to why your horse is not responding when he or she is physically healthy, but not responding, that's what we're on the journey to discover. Go ahead, Martin.
That's fine. And then the other side is the parasympathetic, which in a human term starts with procrastination. Then if it's more so, rolls into despondence, as in, oh, I can't do this, tears, and then depression all the way in. And so, but on the same time, these people are way easier to get along. They're usually quite gregarious and lovely and pleasant and artsy, but don't get stuff done. Their natural modality is sleep in, and of course, when it's tragically bad, they sleep in, then they pull the blanket over their head and say, "I'm not getting up."
Okay. Well, no, that's not me. I'm not in that category.
No, you're not. But it happens, right? Some people, I mean, especially teenagers can go through, as they're trying to rebalance, they turn into these no, and I won't, and the world is dark, and I don't want any light. And they just go into the hole. Anyway, that's the extreme of it, and we don't really want it, but it exists.
Lori's nodding her head.
Oh yeah, she's seen it. And And we have the controls, and the controls are the foods that we eat, the form of the calories that we ingest, fats, proteins, and carbohydrates.
Okay.
And the proteins and fats go into one group and carbohydrates into the other, and they form these balances like brake and gas. But what we don't know is whether they're this way or this way, whether they're switched or not. So some people will get more acidic on carbs, and some people get more acidic on fats. And we don't know which you are until you tell me, because you test, and you'll know. And here's how you can best see it. If you've ever been to a cocktail party where there's alcohol, which is the quickest form of carbohydrate, the oxidizers that are made acidic by alcohol, the more they drink, the louder they get, the more argumentative they get, and the more they want to fight with one another, all the way to physical. Whereas,
okay, so repeat that for people who are paying attention. I want to wrap my head around that.
Well,
so watch the people at a party.
Acidity has the effect of being less agreeable and being louder and being confrontational. So if carbohydrates make you more acidic, and alcohol being the carbohydrate, you can observe in the room, if you have 40, 50 people in the room, all of them served alcohol, you soon see the ones that are drifting into the acidity as louder and prone to conflict or argument. And
okay, so you guys drop it in the comment section right now. I don't care what platform you're watching on. Let me know if this is lighting up bullseyes and light bulbs for you. Just think about yourself in the warm-up pen, and think about yourself as you're watching riders and their horse behavior. We don't have to be at a party, watching people consume alcohol. Look at their behaviors. What can their behavior with the horse and their training style tell us about what kind of body type they are, and what they may or may not be eating, and if they have the pedals switched?
Yeah. And so the other side, being the alkaline side, if you become overly alkaline, then you drift into oversharing, over emotional, and then tears, just uncontrollably emotional. And then they fall asleep. Like the people to whom carbohydrates are over alkalizing, they are going to just have to sleep it off. They are not the life of the party. They are the target of the jokes. Anyway, so what we appreciate is calmness, right? Calmness is great because under calmness, we remain engaged. The frontal cortex stays engaged. When stress kicks in, the frontal cortex gets disconnected, and back brain is the only thing that rules. And back brain is essentially the animal brain or the lizard brain. So I don't know. I remember hearing a line just recently, which was one of the boxers saying, "We all have great plans until we get punched in the face." Right?
We all have great plans until our horse runs right past the first barrel.
Yeah, right. Like if there's something like you miss the corner, or you just don't do the turn right, or whatever, and then all of a sudden you're panic, struggle, whatever, right?
Yes.
But even before, right? If you're not calm, if you go into it, you have to rely on your habits. You have to rely on what's fully wired in.
So I was just listening to something a few minutes ago. I bought an audiobook yesterday called, instead of time management, it's called mind management. And he was talking about what you just said. You have to rely on your habits, how sometimes when we're consuming and digesting information and it doesn't make sense, When the right time comes to apply, it just kind of automatically clicks. But
Yeah.
if you haven't practiced that, if you haven't prepared for that, you got nothing to pull on.
Yeah, that's it. And remember, like, for example, when you're trying to change your health habits, like your diet, for example, you need to do something consistently for at least 3 weeks, probably 4, before it becomes habitual. Like, you need to wear the groove in. You can't just say, make a decision. That's the will, right?
Mhm.
But the will, you can do that once or twice, but you need to turn it into a habit.
Mhm.
You need to turn it into an automatic. Like, I don't think about whether I need to brush my teeth in the morning. I just do.
Mhm. Because you've made it a priority and you've made it a habit, as we
Well,
all
it's a
have.
habit.
You talked about calmness. That's when we can remain engaged. The same for our horses. We all want the performance, but if you have amped up speed and it's not controlled, it's inconsistent. It's
Mhm.
risky financially and physically, as well as emotionally, because it can really, wreak havoc on us mentally. But to keep our horses, because they mirror us, to keep our own selves calm, keep the frontal cortex active. Okay. And guys, we've been talking about this. If you're new to Stall Talk and we're getting your attention, go back and catch the replays on YouTube. Download the Stall High app. We are here for you. We're on a journey to learn more ourselves, and we would love to have you with us. So, wanting to be calm, let me kick it to Theresa real quick. What thoughts are going through your head right now as you're listening to Martin? And how do you see this applying to riders and horses?
You're muted.
Okay, there we go. So sorry. Oh my gosh. And I turned the camera off. I don't even know how I did that.
Well, let's get
and
your camera back real quick.
Unmute. Can you repeat that question, Lori? I'm so sorry. I mean, Kendra, I'm sorry.
So what thoughts are going through your head? Hit your camera button for me so I can see you, please. So
there we go.
There. Okay. So hearing what he's saying about being calm and being able to stay active, remain engaged, use our frontal cortex. I didn't know that for so long. I just guilted myself because my horse wasn't working. I thought it was me. I didn't understand that maybe I shouldn't have had that Coke and said, oh, I'll get by on a bag of Fritos.
Or a 30-ounce cup of coffee. It's kind of crazy. Most of my riding experience comes from the 70s, 80s, and early 90s. So I've been out of the saddle for quite some time, and it was a completely different game back then. There was never, at least for me and like the people that I ran around with and everything, there was never the connection between what we were thinking, what we were doing, what we were eating, vitamins, minerals, environmental factors, everything. I don't believe that connection was ever really made. And the more that I'm engaging now, trying to get myself back into this world, it's huge. It's been a vast game changer in terms of me paying attention to what I'm putting in my body, what I'm putting in my brain even, and trying to make those mental shifts in my thought process, and how it affects not just the horses, my dogs, my husband. I'm tempted to put the camera on him.
Hi, Bo.
But I'm not going to. Kendra said hello.
Hello, Kendra.
He's driving. And even in our business, it's that right there has been a game changer. Good grief. So I think it's huge in terms of recognizing a large part of how, I'm just going to say, the world reacts around us is us, and taking that responsibility personally, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I'd like to sum it up just so it's really crystal clear for people. When you're preparing for an event, you want to be in a balanced or slightly relaxed mode, because you will have no problem kicking and turning on the fight or flight. You don't want to be at the elevated level elevating further. What you want to do is you want to start from the relaxed level and ride relaxed but focused. And yeah. And for that, you need to understand your metabolic type. And you're either the oxidizer or the autonomic. And the oxidizer gets calmer by pushing fats, and the autonomic gets calmer by pushing carbs. So for one person, it's going to be a spoonful of coconut oil, push fats. For another person, it's going to be an apple or a banana, push carbs.
Okay, so is this something you help us with your diagnostic tool at
Sure.
lifeenthusiast.com? So
Yeah,
walk us through that process, because you've already gotten my attention, and I know other people are listening right now and our ears are going up saying, what?
Yeah. Well, look, you can figure it out for yourself. It's strictly experimental. The tool that I have is called Metabolic Typing Test, and it asks you 120 multiple choice questions, such as when I eat greasy breakfast, I feel this, whatever the questions, better, worse, energized, pushed down. The kind of questions are, after a meal, do I feel satiated or hungry? Do I feel calm inside or jittery? Do I feel wired but tired in the evening? Or whatever. Those are the kind of questions. And then some of them are physiological, like my ears are more pink than the rest of my face. My pupils tend to be tiny or large. My hips tend to be wider than my shoulders, or a lot wider. Questions like that. And at the end of this process, which we charge $97 for, you end up knowing the two things: the endocrine dominance and the metabolic dominance. With the endocrine dominance, you know how to manage your weight. With the metabolic dominance, you know how to manage your moods.
Okay, well, ping, ping, ping. All right, so let me slow down a second. I'm going to take you back like 90 seconds ago. You said to prepare for an event, to make a run, doesn't matter if you're roping or running barrels or, any horse event competition. You want to be relaxed, more on the relaxed side, because your fight or flight is easy to activate. Guys, that's the same for the horse. So I see so many people like jockeying and jabbing their horses around and got the little quirt in their hand. They're getting them like shook up before they run. You don't need to do that. If you wonder why your horse, and maybe you think, well, he's not running, so I need to wake him up a little bit. I need to get his attention before he runs. There could be a completely different reason that you're missing. And if you're trying to gain that 0.2 of a second, but if you tried something different, it actually gained you 0.3 or 0.4 of a second faster. Let's measure it. Let's test the difference. So I absolutely want to know what metabolic type I am. I want to take it serious. As much money as I've invested into who I am, the stock, the herd that I have, the years that I've chased trying to get to the NFR, those qualifications, and the level that I have been able to achieve in the sport of barrel racing, that's cost me millions. And I've spent decades, I've spent my life doing this, chasing this dream. Why would I forfeit any of that just for lack of knowledge on what I eat? It's not going to change the amount of my grocery bill.
No, it will not. It's just the ratios between the fats, proteins, and starches on a plate. And some people are allowed to eat a potato only if they load it up heavily with butter and sour cream. Or have a piece of bread only if it's dipped in olive oil. Or buttered hard, right? Whatever. It's the balances, right? Some people have to, to give you an example, right? It's done through breeding. We humans have been bred to be living on a specific natural resource. If all of your ancestors lived in Norway, they lived on dried cod, fresh salmon, and in the winter they would kill the reindeer.
Mhm.
They had a 3-month growing season because it's far north. So not a lot of vegetables. So that's the Norwegian folk. If your people are from North Africa, they ate dates, figs, pomegranates, drank a lot of camel milk. That's all starchy stuff.
Okay.
You can't switch those two. Whatever the Native American that followed the buffalo and ate bear fat and berries in the winter was made for that. When the settlers showed up with whiskey, which is a total carbohydrate, it totally blew up their ability to cope metabolically because they never had readily available starches. There were no grains in their diet. So when you introduce that, it just destroys their ability to cope. So anyway, so we all have ancestors. America is a great big experiment where we are breeding a Norwegian grandmother to a Cherokee grandfather and doing just horrible things, and something floats to the top. I can't tell you unless you're a purebred what you're going to be, which North America, hardly anyone is.
Right. That's
So,
right.
But
That's
so
why
we
there's
have the test. So we have the test, and with the test, we answer what is the main characteristic that is driving this thing.
Okay, so I have a question for our guests who are watching in the Zoom. So I'm going to call on some people to, unmute yourself, hit the camera. Does this answer questions for you? Does this take guilt and blame off of you? It does for me on the years that I rode bitchy, like Martin said, or just a little too wound tight. If I track my diet, I didn't know any better to do any different. So anybody else out there, let me hear from some of our guests. I know we've got Lori, Meadow, Zoe, Kevin's here. Who wants to speak up if you're at a place where you can talk?
It absolutely makes a whole lot of sense for me, especially when I feel like I can't do it today, or, it might just be that I started my day with the wrong food, and I need to redo that and rethink that and start actually planning my day's diet so that I can be productive with my horses.
Yes, it may not be your horse at all. Maybe you ate a potato and you should have had something different. We don't know these things. That's why we have Martin here to help us fill in the gaps. That's brilliant, Zoe. Thank you. Anybody else? Who else is brave enough to share?
I know carbohydrates aren't good for me.
Okay, what happens?
I get real fat.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's the thyroid body type. Kendra is Zoe is that. Yeah. Yeah. Zoe will make a great keto model.
Meadow says, I never knew that certain foods could set me off. We just didn't know. But I'm excited to be learning more and how this impacts our horse. It's not our horse's fault that we aren't educated or we make wrong choices for our body type. That's why you're here. I applaud you guys. Hats off for being here listening, whether you're listening to the live or you're catching the replay at some future point in time. I applaud you for being here. You're listening because you care. Anybody else? Meadow, you want to speak up, or who else is on our live Zoom today?
Eating concession stand from the barrel race probably isn't the smartest thing to do before you run.
Guilty. Been there when that was the only thing there was available, right? I didn't think ahead. I didn't prepare.
Drinking a Dr. Pepper and Fritos, Doritos.
Oh
Yeah,
how many of us do it? Go ahead, Martin.
Unfortunately, the corporate food makers have figured out how to make mouth porn. That's what it is.
Yeah.
They just feed you stuff that is the mouth feel. They've been searching for the thing that's the most combination of crunch, smooth, salty, sweet, fatty, just right. Right?
Mhm.
They got it dialed in and they test it. And it's I
And
call
we
it
don't realize we're the guinea pigs and we're the
Well,
consumers.
they realize.
we're now the
We don't.
yeah,
We don't realize that.
they trained us. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Lori, what about-
Carnivore snacks are great. I want everybody to know that.
tell me that again, Kevin.
Carnivore snacks are great.
Carnivore
They're
snack.
like, yeah, they're like meat potato chips.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Some people just call it beef jerky.
Okay.
This
But-
only has salt,
Beef jerky. Okay.
but I
Lori-
mean, oh my gosh.
Lori,
Okay, so there are two things that need to be said. One
Okay.
deals with the body shape and body weight and that sort of thing. The other deals with the moods. And you may be matched or mismatched. And it's a lottery. So some people, when they eat the diet that keeps them skinny, may keep them calm, but in other people, it may keep them overstimulated. So
Mm.
you need to kind of, those are two different things. So I want to speak to the mood. Like when you're prepping for the race, you want to put yourself into the relaxed mode. So if you understand what makes you more alkaline, you do that. There are three quick things that you can do. One is the green things. You mentioned that, Kendra, something like chlorella or barley grass, wheatgrass, that sort of stuff. That is a quick shift toward parasympathetic, toward the relaxed. In the world of minerals, magnesium is the driver. So you can rub yourself down or rub your horse down with magnesium.
Mhm.
We do sell that. It's called magnesium oil and magnesium gel in our website.
And they'll get a discount if they use the Stall High code. Is that right, Lori? Will you drop that in the comments for us and tell us about that real quick?
Martin, I wanted to jump in there on the magnesium. This is Lori.
Yeah.
Hey,
When you know that your magnesium levels are normal, what are there any issues with adding that magnesium?
good
Okay.
question.
So in general, the North American population, 60% are deficient and another 20 are clinically deficient. So it's pretty common for only 20% of people to have enough. When you do have enough, taking some temporary magnesium push is not going to cause you a problem. It's just going to make you calm.
Mhm.
And then, of course, your normal bodily processes will deal with it. Calcium and magnesium are the two sides of the autonomic system regulators. Calcium shortens, magnesium lengthens. So every heartbeat, there's a calcium signal that shortens the muscle and magnesium signal that lengthens the muscle. So when I, for example, do a curl, this muscle here is shortening and this muscle under here is lengthening when I'm pulling up. And then the opposite, this one was lengthening and this one was shortening. So the shortening signal comes from calcium, the lengthening signal comes from magnesium. So when you don't have enough magnesium, you'll be either cramping outright, or you'll be just simply struggling to run loose, smooth. I call it running like a cheetah, but gazelle comes to mind, or horse comes to mind. You know, you can see them just going full speed and yet appear to be relaxed.
And think about that as a rider. So a lot of people are in this like guilt mode right now because like you can see your horse is not responding. you want to have lighter hands, but you're not sure why it's not working, even though you tell yourself, like, be soft, be soft, be soft, be light. Don't knee jerk react on the reins. Hello, ping, ping, ping. Maybe it's a magnesium thing. That's what we're here talking about today. Martin, so you said prep for a race, get alkaline, chlorella, barley grass, greens. Number 2, magnesium oil. Lori dropped the link to your website, life-enthusiast.com. Third thing.
Oh, well, give your horse some alfalfa,
Okay.
right?
So
As opposed to grains, right? You give the horse grains when you're wanting them to be strong, but you give them grass when you want them to relax.
Okay, so guys, when you have access to green grass, should we be grazing our horses before we run, even if it's 5 to 10 minutes?
Okay.
Test it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd let them munch on some alfalfa, but
Well, and alfalfa, there's debate on that. And I personally, it depends on the horse, right? Alfalfa can make a horse hot, especially when you're pairing it with grain or you're keeping them stalled and they don't have a regular routine to burn that energy. So
Yeah,
be
okay.
careful if you're going to add alfalfa. I would test a small dose, Martin.
yeah. Oh, small dose and just before the race. And you're going to make them hot and you're going to make them run and you're not going to make them energized. But
Okay.
only, like, I don't know what, not much.
A
A pound?
little bit.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're not talking about letting them eat 2 or 3 flakes before you run. You're talking about giving them, just like we would for ourselves, a small portion of food to
Yeah.
pull them through that run with the energy level they need.
Yeah,
And keep them
exactly
calm.
like, yeah.
Huh. Okay. Interesting. I'm willing to test that.
Yeah,
Lori,
let's try. Let's have a vote. Let's prove Martin either right or wrong. And I want to learn. I want to know. So
guys, if you are listening on another platform right now, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and we've got your attention. We've piqued your curiosity. All you have to do is download the Stall High app. It's free. It's in the App Store and Google Play. If you want to join this journey that we're on, we're a community of horse owners taking responsibility to educate ourselves on a daily basis for the sake of our horses. If your horse is physically healthy, but not working, not responding to the level that you hope to get them to and hope to achieve, there's probably a mechanical root, and that mechanical root attaches to a mental block somewhere. So we're learning how the mind, the muscles, the mechanics, how we can measure all of these things and test them to make progress. It's as simple as that. So download the Stall High app, be a part of what we're doing. We would love to have you. Lori, did that answer your question? I see your hand raised again.
Well, no, because I wanted to ask Martin. So I know that your report is extensive. Annie did it. And of course, she brings it to me because she says, Mom, you're a nurse. You should be able to help me with all of this. It has a lot of information out there. So along with that, Martin, do you need to do a consult to understand that information better and to simplify it? Because so you can understand more easily what you eat and what you don't.
Well, as part of the process, included in the price is an interpretation. I spend usually close to an hour with a person after we have the sheet and we hand them the user's manual, right? Like when you get that link to the email that has to the report that has a lot of data in it, we try to chunk it down to explain it. Here's what you do, how you incorporate it in your life. And it's just like anything, when you're first learning to dance, you learn the first position, second position, third position, whatever, and you practice them over and over and over, and then you can put it together. Likewise with this, right? We have the report, we say over here, this is what you look at every day, this is what you look at now and then, and explain it. So yes, there is definitely guidance, and I offer that. It comes with it. It's not like we're gonna throw you overboard and let you
Figure it out.
Yeah, no.
Okay, so life-enthusiast.com if you want to learn more about what metabolic type you are. And if you want to learn more and book a consult, take this survey, take this eval, which is online, and test it, find out how much of a difference it makes in your horse. I'm definitely on a bandwagon about if we are spending so much time, so much money, so much effort and energy and passion to take care of our horses, it's really not fair if we're not getting the result we want from that horse, if we're not equally taking care of ourselves, mind, body, and spirit. We have to be in a good place when we go to that barn. Now, I'm not saying you have to get better before you go ride. We're in this journey together. It doesn't matter what part of the journey you're on. We celebrate everybody's personal progress, whether you're just beginning, whether you've been riding for 55 years, but you feel stuck and you want to go to the next level, or whether you're at the pro level and already a national finals qualifier. It's an interesting community and a support system, what's happening at Stall High, and specifically within the interactive level where we meet every night of the week, Monday through Friday. And we have a team of coaches, and we're definitely taking this learning thing serious. Martin, thank you so much for sharing your expertise once again with us. Lori Roth, thank you for being our moderator this week. Thanks to all of our Stall High members who are here this week and those of you who are interacting, and to our sweet Theresa at Wild Pony in Albuquerque driving around today. Thank you for sharing what this has meant to you already. We're excited to have you on the journey with this as well.
Great.
All right, guys. Well, let's call that a wrap. If you want help with your personal horse, download the Stall High app. It's that easy. To my interactive members, I'll see you tonight in class. Lori Roth, did I miss anything before we shut her down?
I don't think so. It just, if anybody wants a link for Martin's products, anything specific, or just to the overall view, just send us a text message or ask in the comments on the live that you're watching. You'll find a place to reach out to us if you're watching this right now. So, and I will make sure and give you guys the links that you need.
Okay. Talk about links. Let's find the missing links. If your horse is not working and you want to know why, come be a part of Stall High. That made a rhyme. All right, guys. Thank you, Martin.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you,
Thank
Theresa
you, Martin.
at Wild Pony. Thank you, everybody. And I'll see you next week for Stall Talk episode 14 next week. Thanks, guys.